Hello, this is Brian Purdy with the Florida Aviation Network here at Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo 2023. Today we're interviewing and talking with the Aeroshell demonstration team. It's going to be more of a candid conversation than anything else, but we're going to talk about safety, mentorship, and building self-confidence. We look forward to hearing your comments, and hopefully this will be of use to everyone. I know I gained a lot from it. Hello, this is Brian Purdy with the Florida Aviation Network. Today we're visiting with the Aeroshell team here at Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo 2023. Just want to let you in on our conversation and have a good time. Thank you for being with us today.
I'm Jimmy Fordham. I live in Monroe, Louisiana, and I fly the number 4 airplane in the slot position with the Aeroshell Aerobatic Team.
Mark Henley from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I fly lead for the Aeroshell Aerobatic Team.
Hi, my name's Brian Reagan. I am from Lafayette, Louisiana, and I fly number 2, the right wing for the Aeroshell Aerobatic Team.
And my name is Steve Gustafson. I fly the left wing of the Aeroshell team. I'm from Tallulah, Louisiana. We're flying a night show tonight. The team, we've got 25 air shows this year. We've already been to Laredo, Texas, Shreveport, Louisiana, Barksdale Air Force Base, and we're here at Sun and Fun, and we're really excited about it. There's a lot of people here today. Tuesday, I guess that weather front kind of had things kind of blocked up a little bit, but they opened the floodgates. They're here today. We actually signed so many posters at Aeroshell we ran out, and that was a first. We've never run out of posters, and so we're really excited to be here. We're going to do the night show tonight. Want everybody to come out and enjoy the show. It's going to be great weather, so there's no excuse to be sitting inside, and we're just thankful to be here.
I'd ride the bus. We're really happy to be here. We've been so lucky. The weather's been so nice all week. Nice and cool, which is it's usually pretty rough during the week of Sun and Fun at some point. But it's just been great all week, and people have been real nice. We're happy to be here.
Great.
Yeah, we're glad to be here. Like I said, we've had good weather all week. You know, we had a tornado came through here several years ago. You know, they said, well, if we ever, don't, that we will never do it in March again. That's what the organized, and here we are, we're in the finishing up. Well, we're in April now, but we were the last part of March. Everybody's been a little nervous, but they picked it right this year. That the weather's been great.
I just echo what my teammates have said. We're glad to be here. It's been a great Sun and Fun so far. We're looking forward to the night show, flying it tonight. It's a really unique experience, people who hadn't seen that. And it's been a great week. People are pouring out today. It's really packed.
We started end of February down in Laredo, Texas, and our last show is going to be December. I think like 7th, somewhere right in there, be the last. So we stayed pretty busy. We're going to be in Montreal, Canada this year, New Jersey, all over the United States as we always are, and it's going to be interesting.
At least it's not every week if you got 25.
It's not, and so we've got 2 weeks off after we finish here at Sun and Fun, and I'm looking forward to going home and spending Easter with the family and doing with them, and so it's. But we got a good lineup this year. We're going some different places.
Now, the show started in February, but are you guys year-round keeping in, practice?
Well, that's the thing. We fly so much year-round that keeps us in practice and fine-tuned. We really, now we get together if we haven't flown in a month. Obviously, we get there and we practice it and make sure everything's good, but we usually don't have any problems. We've been flying as long as we have together. I mean, the newest member on the team has been here for 12 years. He's the newest guy. I've been flying formation aerobatics my entire life. I actually started the team. Myself and Alan Henley started it in 1985. So I'm the only original member still on the team. But
Rebuild the band every once in a while.
that's it. That's it.
Well, I mean, I can talk about some of the stuff he talked about before. Our schedule really normally falls within about a nine and a half month period. Every once in a while we have winter shows, and so we just have to work around that. We really do need at least a month clear during the winter to go through the airplanes really good and check everything out, and then they go. In addition to that's before the annual, and then after the annual we go through them some more. But so that's the hard part. It's kind of scheduling that. Plus we have a convention and all that, so it does turn into a year-round deal.
So do you guys have your own maintenance guys for the airplane?
Yeah, right here, there.
That's the best way to know it intimately. It's like, no, I'm changing.
Yeah. That's how you get to see everything. So.
Now, I don't want to be presumptuous. Do you guys do anything else besides this flying? Okay, I got a farm background.
No, he's
movie acting.
do some getting into production and many other things to do with film, but I've also done some contract flying, on the outside, and pretty much anything they'll pay me to do, really. But of course, Steve's a farmer. He can talk about that.
I'm a farmer. Also, I'm an aerial applicator.
Okay.
And most people call that crop duster, but the correct terminology is aerial application. I've been doing that for 43 years. I'm more the part-time guy now. I don't fly it full-time like I used to, but I still stay current. I like to stay current in anything I'm flying. I don't like to be behind the 8-ball. But I had a car wash for 16 years also, and I sold that. Yeah, it's interesting to, you flying, being diversified to be able to do other things like that. I've been very blessed. Yeah, but you were asking me about safety stuff and everything. We debrief after every air show. And we do a walk around before every air show. We just go through our routine, what we're going to do, talk about the winds. If it's an on-crowd wind, let's move it out to the 1,000-foot line. Even though we could fly the 500, there's just no use pushing it. You can't tell much difference between if we're on the 1,000 or the 500. We look at those type of things, where we're going to be landing, because obviously we're flying tailwheel airplanes, so we want to say, okay, well, we're going to be finishing the maneuver, and Mark will say, I'm going to bring you guys around here for a right downwind to land into the wind. So we talk about that before we ever fly. So you have a mental picture in your head of exactly what you're doing and where you're going and where it's going to end. Now, if things change in the middle of it, obviously we get advised by lead, but for the most part, it pretty much sticks with the plan that we indoctrinate when we first get started. Well, that's what we are. We're a ballet in the sky that, it's like a big dance, and people ask us about that, and if you dance with your wife or whatever, every time you get on the dance floor, you don't have to rehearse that. So, but that keeps us safe, and we've also built our maneuvers package to where we never lose sight of each other, and that's the main thing. We make sure we always keep an eye for each other unless we're doing a breakaway maneuver, and so we've built the routine around that safety.
So is there anything, repetition is good for practice, but every once in a while it also leads to complacency?
That's the big one. I'm an aerobatic competency evaluator. I've been one for over almost 40 years. And when I evaluate someone, especially if they've been flying a long time, first thing I tell them, I says, I can't tell you how to fly. You've been flying for, say, 40 years. But I will tell you, never be complacent. Treat every air show like it's your first. Pay attention to everything. Never ever get complacent at all. And that goes with flying in general for everybody out there that's flying. I know how to do this. Well, you better be careful. Don't let it sneak up on you. We want to enjoy our flying, but we also want to make sure we pay expert attention while doing so.
To the other side of the room a little bit, and let you guys talk a little bit. Anything, safety-wise that you guys, think of?
Well, like
different?
like you said, we do a walkthrough, and that kind of, like you said, it gives us a chance to discuss, if there's anything special about the box. Sometimes you got prohibited areas, especially go to military bases, they'll have ordnance bays and stuff that you can't fly over, and so we have to talk about how we're going to deal with that, and or if they got a secondary crowd area, then we have to talk about that. And so everything we try to do, that we don't want any surprises, so we want to make sure we cover everything. But we've been doing this so long, like I said, I guess that we've probably been complacent at times and had stuff slip up on us, and so now we know how to be a little more diligent about trying to cover everything so that we don't get complacent.
So, okay, no, I'm back on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just, sometimes it's just, either good airmanship or sometimes just good luck that those things don't end up manifest themselves into a problem. So, we've been pretty fortunate that we haven't had anything. I've been doing this for 25. I've been on this team for 25 years, and I did solo airbags before that, and so, like I said, complacency is that's a big dark hole out there that you can fall into if you're not careful.
Jimmy, anything you want to add?
I agree with what Mark's talking about, and ever since I've been with the team, and I'm the youngest member of the team, I'm the oldest one on the team, and I come from an airline background, and the biggest thing I think we guard against is complacency, though, because, well, tonight we got a night show. Okay, put the lights on, let's go, slow down a little bit. Let's make sure the wind's doing what we think it's doing, what's going on with the weather, how's the light. Mark generally decides when we're going to take off based on the best light for the show, and we back each other up. I mean, if one of us gets inside of a line or something, the others are going to say it. If we need to drag something out, Mark will be talking to us, say, hey, we're going to drag this turn out because the wind's doing this, and all that has to do with safety. And it's a very unforgiving profession, but if you approach it as a professional, it can be safe. You're never going to you manage the risk is what you do. And I feel like we do a good job of managing that risk. We're always taking some risk in this job, but we're not scared of it. We're not, we don't get all upset or something because we got to go fly. But it's a ton of fun. I mean, it's really, really most challenging flying I've ever done in my life. And we're all close friends and know each other and know each other's quirks, and so it's a good environment to be in.
That was it. It seems you all have varying backgrounds. Do you recommend anything particular for someone that wants to eventually get into acrobatics, either solo or then team aerobatics?
Let Steve take that.
Well, if they decide, that's the thing about aviation. There's so many different variants. You could be a mechanic, you could be a pilot, you could be a air traffic controller. There's so many different things in aviation. If these kids will just get out here and figure out what's going on, that's what's great thing about Sun and Fun in Oshkosh. There's so many. If your child is interested in aviation, these are the places to be. So you can walk around and learn how to grab these opportunities that are out there that you're not educated about. And that's one of the things we love about being here. We've been flying long enough now. We run into people now that are with the airlines or went into the military or went into the ag, it's really rewarding to be able to steer some of these younger generation, these kids, into this type stuff. You can't imagine the fulfillment that you get from changing somebody's life. I mean, that is a powerful thing, and Sun and Fun does that. It really does. I mean, people are just missing out if they don't take advantage of this opportunity. And we get asked a lot of questions, as you know. We get this and that. And one of the biggest ones they always ask, they say, "Who's the best pilot in the group?"
Well, in your formation, I think we all are.
Well, you just about said it. Each one of us has certain unique capabilities about them. Everybody flies different. It's like people sing different, people draw different. Well, people fly different, as you well know. But I always say, if you could take something from each one of these guys, something from all of us, and roll that into one person, then you would have the best. And you're right. So when you see us fly, that's what you end up with. As a team, you end up, with the best, in my opinion, because there's so much knowledge on this team and variant, as we talked about, between all of us, we've about done everything. We've flown every kinds of airplane. Mark's type rated in so many airplanes I can't even keep up with. He's a DPE. Jimmy's a DPE. Brian's been flying air shows 30-something years. I've been flying air shows 40-something years, and flown over 300 different types of airplanes myself. It's a blast to be here. Share that knowledge and share that stuff to these young people, because a lot of them are like kind of blown away and they don't realize. Oh, I had one do this. How many hours do you have? And I said, well, I got a little over 33,000 hours. Oh, well, I've only got 100. My answer to them is this: hey, I had 100 at one time. Everybody had 100 hours at one time. What's that got to do with anything? You just got to just keep rolling on with it, and you're going to look up, and you're going to have 30,000 hours. Because that's the way I look at it. I look at it now, and I'm going, how in the world did I get here? I cannot believe that I've had the opportunities to do everything that I've been blessed to be able to do.
Brian, you look like you want to say something.
So, a big part of this is persistence. Aviation, if you don't have any experience with it, if you're just looking at it from the outside, can be pretty intimidating. But until you get inside and see it from the inside, then you won't know. And it's definitely all learnable. And there are endless metaphors, but you can't win the lottery if you don't play, if you don't buy a ticket, But the better one.
It's really kind of moving. He was in school and got in trouble a lot from the teacher because he wasn't paying attention. And the reason was he was over there by the window looking outside all the time at the sky and daydreaming, and an airplane would come flying over working a field or something. He'd get in trouble about it, and because he tell him about that a little bit, about it, just your dream.
Yeah, well, it's funny that I got suspended from school twice for daydreaming of all things, and I thought that was pretty unreasonable. My father did too. They wanted to paddle me for it. He said nope. He was a psychiatrist, pretty sharp guy, and but I think over time it kind of wore on me, and a lot of negative feedback in different ways. And I pursued aviation since I was a kid. And then by the time I got to high school, I got discouraged, and they were telling me, we had a great experience with Lights Leanhouse last night. He was telling a similar story, about having mid-level grades in school, and he said nobody was going to stop me from doing what I wanted to do. And for me, I kind of let it get to me. I had mediocre grades, and people were always saying, oh, you got to be really good at math, you got to be good at this and all. And I just wasn't getting the support. I decided I didn't want to be around it if I couldn't do it. And so I gave up on it for a while. And about 6-7 years later, I ran into a friend at an air show, and he cornered me on it and said, why'd you never get your license or anything? I said, well, this, that. He said, look, my brother will teach you for a couple $1,000. It's easy. All right. And then he took me up, flipped me over a couple of times in a T6, and I was hooked. He set the hook, And the next week I went out and started taking lessons, and I never had any experience of success like I did on a daily basis. Once I started learning how to fly, it was like, wow, I can do this, I can do that. And, you know, every lesson was just easy. Whereas everything before that seemed to be discouraging.
What does that do to your confidence level?
Oh, yeah, just
Shoot your confidence
boost your
level
confidence.
through the roof. That's another thing about being a pilot and learning how to fly, even though you might do something else. If you've ever been discouraged or been told you can't do something or anything like that, yes, you can. You start learn to be a pilot. It's just your confidence. It is such a self-esteem booster, as you well know.
There's so many elements to it, so many different things that you learn about to be able to get your pilot's license. You know, meteorology, you know, you laugh at those guys on TV that so said predict the weather because you know they're wrong, you know, when they're wrong. But you pretty much, you know what the answers are before they do. You kind of turn the sound off and just see what their maps say. And you go, okay, all right, that's what it's going to do, you know. And but aerodynamics, you know, you pick up some engineering stuff. So if you get your fill of flying, and there's one element of that interests you more, you want to go off in that direction. Well, you got a pretty good preparation for it, and you got the motivation from it being enjoyable and the sense of accomplishment, and all that confidence, like you said, just was like, hey, look. I never realized I could do all this stuff. So it's a great deal.
Those first solos, it's like, okay, can I do this? Oh, yeah.
That's right, and that's a confidence builder. That's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah.
Now, Mark, you look like you're ready to.
Well, he was talking about being a meteorologist. Like I said, I'm an examiner, so I test a lot of new students that come out. And, you know, the difference is, like, you know, if you watch TV and they predict the weather and they get it wrong, well, okay, you might get wet trying to get out of your car going to work. Well, heck, what we do when you're flying, I mean, when you know, because you look at the weather, because you have to be able to interpret what it is, and then because then you got to go fly through it. It's a whole lot more critical that you get it right. And so that's why, you know, as a student pilot or as a private pilot, they really need to understand weather because you're going to end up, or at least be able to figure out trends, what it could do, or where, you know, how to read all the reports and stuff. Because now when you go out, because you're going to be flying in that, and it's affecting you a lot more than it is if you're on the ground.
You know, and I think one of the most important things that the Aeroshell team does too is kind of like Steve was saying, it's inspire the younger generation. We're all getting older, and telling these kids that, hey, you can do this, but you've got to set your mind to it. You've got to work, and you never quit. You know, I mean, I wasn't anything special flying wise. I just wouldn't quit. You know, they finally said, okay, get over here. You're going to do it, you know, and I'm flying with them. But, you know, anybody can learn to do this, and you got to make up your mind, I'm going to do it. Get the what I call the Navy SEAL mentality of I'm not going to quit. I don't care what you do to me. I'm going to keep studying and working at it until I get it down right. And you know, I think we try to. Yeah, exactly. Fuel through the carburetor. And
you can't learn to swim if you don't get wet.
Yeah, amen. That's right. But it's a great, you know, it's great to see the young people. I do the examiner work too, and I tell them about, you know, when I tried to get hired with the airlines, it was here's the water and start walking, and I'd fall in, and well, you didn't do good there. Well, you got any moon time? You've been to space or anything, you know? And well, I'm competing against guys who have 3,000 hours of B-52 time and been combat, and I got Cessna 150 time. You know, it was tough. It was different. But nowadays, things have changed so much, and these kids have such a great opportunity. Like Steve said, whether it's in air traffic control, ag flying, airlines, military, you know, meteorology, whatever you want to do, there's a shortage out there in those fields right now. And I am thankful that I'm able to hopefully inspire young people to, hey, you can do this. We did it, and we're nothing special. You know, we did it.
Is there places where young people that have gotten that fire for aerobatics and stuff can go to be mentored or learn?
That one right there is Daddy. back in the 70s, okay? His dad and I met, and through a mutual friend that his dad had flown formation aerobatics with. And, you know, Merle, I flew some shows with his dad, and, you know, didn't pay anything hardly at all. It was just fun, you know, learning to fly aerobatics at shows. And then I got away from it in the airline world. And then I look at Steve as my mentor when I got back into it, and I had a yak and I needed an examiner to, you know, start working with me on, you know, giving me the checks and going through the checks and getting to lower and lower altitudes, you know. So I credit Steve's dad and Steve a lot for the help that I had, you know, initially on the air. And we all still help each other, you know, even now. If I got a question or something, I'll go to these guys and ask them. I mean, that guy's two-time, you know, Hall of Fame aerobatic pilot. He's seen a lot, you know. He's got a lot of knowledge.
But there's some places that you can go take some basic training. There's a lot of places. Greg Kuntz has a bed and breakfast place that you can go fly a decathlon with him and learn to start from the basics. You're not going to start with doing hardcore aerobatics. You're going to start out with a loop wing over and a barrel roll. And I've taught a lot of people myself in T6s. Now, obviously, I don't have that much time to be able to do it because we're on the road so much, but I used to do it a lot. I used to teach a lot of that. And Patty Wagstaff. Hey, Patty Wagstaff. Wow, look at that. Go fly with a legend like her, you know. But there, if you'll get out and start looking, there's a lot of places, more than you realize, to go get that start.
They can help you with a lot of stuff. They'll mentor you and everything,
and steer you in the right direction. They have those answers that you're looking for. And that might not be exactly where you go do it at, but they can point you in the right direction. That's the deal. Is that, you know, I was young too. I can remember that going, wow, you know, what am I going to do? Where do I go? I mean, but I don't know what to do. Well, you can find the answer to a lot of those questions at right here. And if not, they'll steer you the right direction. So, get rid of the doubt and take that energy and put it into doing something. And if you get told no, all that is a little pothole in the road, and you go around it. And you keep on. And like Jimmy said, Jimmy's one of the hardest working people I've ever seen in my life. I mean, his determination is very gratifying and reward. I mean, he blows me away. And he retired flying for the airlines, flying across the ocean and flying the Airbus. And he's got a lot of neat stories that we like to listen to. But anyway.
Yeah, and you know, there's things about, there's some things, there's not a lot, but there are some things about flying with the airline that we use in this team that, you know, my teammates might not even realize this, but the briefings and the sit-down stuff that we were talking about, if it's going to be windy tonight or if something's going on, I mean, we did the same thing in the airline cockpit. You were in a crew concept on the 130 in the airplanes you flew, and, you know, it's a crew involvement. This is a crew that does a very choreographed routine, and we try to do it the same way every time, and Mark makes the same calls every time. And he tells us if something's going on every time. He'll lead us around, you know, and his job is not to run us into the ground. Our job's not to hit him, you know, but we function as a crew in the whole routine that we're doing out there today.
Now, is the routine the same today as it was?
It's the same since since probably 2000, somewhere along in there, that you came up with this routine we're flying today?
Yeah, I'm the one that designed the routine that we're doing. And we've had people say, well, y'all change your routine up. Well, the way I say is, yeah, we changed it up until we got it right. And now people don't even notice that we haven't changed. And it's designed for safety. It's designed to do. Every one of our maneuvers is designed to get us the energy that we need for the next maneuver, and the next maneuver, and the next maneuver. And so you change one thing in there, and the next thing you know, that extra 20 miles an hour that you needed for that last maneuver is not there. And we definitely don't do anything where you lose sight. That's the number one thing that all my years, anybody that was ever flying together that messed up or had anything, they were doing something where they lost sight. So I just won't tolerate that at all. And so I think that's part of our success, is coming up with that routine. And as an ace, where I evaluate people that are getting into air shows, an ace is an aerobatic competency evaluator. So you'll put together your routine and you'll come to me with it, and then first thing I'm gonna do is look at it on a piece of paper. And so there's more times than not, as soon as I see it, I go, well, why are you putting that here? Why didn't you put this here and then put that maneuver down there and finish with this maneuver? I think you'll get an extra 15 knots right here just by doing that. And they go, wow, I never thought about that. And I said, well, that just comes from experience of doing it for so long. And then I watch them fly the routine and make sure they're safe, not dishing out of rolls, making sure they can fly the lines. It's not just being able to fly the maneuvers. You have to be able to position the maneuver in the center of the crowd, on the center line. And that's Mark's job, is to be able to position us where we need to be and have the airspeed for that maneuver. And so there's a lot to that. What if you have a on-crowd wind or a wind pushing you downwind? Now you got to do it early, so you better be prepared for that to have the speeds for the maneuvers. And so it isn't just doing the maneuver, it's placing the maneuver where you want it to be, not letting the wind tell you where to put the maneuver.
Just like doing turns around a point.
Just like turns around a point, but maybe a little more to it. But that's correct. And anyway, making sure they're safe, making sure, number one thing is the crowd. Number one, we'll not tolerate anybody breaks a show line. If they do, they definitely going to flunk. But anyway. Yep.
Let me go back to the beginning. When you created the team at first, was it already going to be sponsored by Aeroshell, or did you have to, court some different sponsors?
Now, we all had jobs. I'm the only original member still on the team. All these guys kind of came in later. And when we were called the North American Aerobatic Team, and it was just 3 of us flying. And we were young and this and that, and we came to Sun and Fun, and our first sponsor was Strong's Parachute, and they're still with us today. Still with us today. And we got a few members, we got a few small sponsorships, product sponsors mostly. And now in 2001, Aeroshell came on board, and it really snowballed from there. Sean Tucker put in a really good word for us with Aeroshell, and they came on board, and then the next thing you know, getting another sponsor was pretty easy because they branded us. So we were able to get Champion Aerospace, who's been a fantastic sponsor. Aeroleds, our lights for our night show. The best of the best. Y'all seen those lights. They're amazing. Oh, they're amazing. They're just amazing. Yeah, and Bose and Kimmel. I can go on, and Kimmel Insurance, Bose, it's McFarland and CJ Aviation, Lincoln Welders. We were very blessed at, and we'll invite they'll all be here, so we'll have them down here at our coach to watch our night show and do some camaraderie and hang out with each other. And now we've all become great friends. Yep. Because people ask me all the time, how do you ever get a sponsor? Well, first thing you have to do is go get your pilot's license, obviously, and get your aerobatics in place, and then start flying some air shows and meet people and meet and do. And then once they start recognizing you, then start out with some small ones, and be good to them. And the next thing you know, you get more and you get more and you get more, and that's where we are today.
Yeah, most of our sponsors end up being some of our best friends. I mean, that's the thing. It's, people do business with friends, and we make a point of that. Make sure that, and we have them come to a bunch of our events and stuff, and not with the idea of trying to get them to, try to get them to do more, just because, I mean, they're all of them good friends of ours. I mean, we all got every one of them's phone numbers. I call some of them just shoot the breeze sometimes. Just, hey, I hadn't heard from you in a while. What's going on? It's just, that's one thing. It's been a really good ride for us because we've made a lot of good friends in this industry.
So, and you said, was it
Strong's Parachute, and that company's based right here in Florida. We sit on all their parachutes, and they repack our chutes for free for us and inspect them, and anything that might be going wrong, they check them for us every 6 months. We send them to them, and we know all those people. Yeah.
Not to air anybody's dirty laundry, have there been any sponsors that sort of like demanded too much that was unsafe?
No, I wouldn't say demand anything that was unsafe. We did have some that wanted to come on board and wanted to kind of tell us, want you to go fly in California, and then I want you to come to Oregon and that type of stuff. And we kind of shy away from that. We don't really want anybody telling us that type of stuff. Now, part of our deal is to fly Sun and Fun in Oshkosh, obviously, for them, and we're going to do that anyway. So, but now we've Aeroshell doesn't ask a lot from us at all. It's really surprising. Champion doesn't. None of our sponsors really do. They just like what we do, and that's how they come up and get on board. They just come up, or we go by there and approach them, and they just like what we do, and they want to support it. And they also realize that we're out there mentoring to all the young people to try to get these people in it. Well, guess what? That helps them back. And it's just a big family. You know how close-knit aviation is. I mean, it really is. You can, it can be really good, or it could, if you're a, that's another thing I love about it. It's most everybody in it are good people. If you're a bad person or something like it, usually don't last around here. Walk around here and see, look at there's no trash on the ground. People respect each other, and they respect the grounds and the property. And I like to hang out with people like that. That's my people. So.
Looks like you wanted to say something, Jimmy.
No, Mark just handed me the microphone. I was thinking, what do you want me to say, Mark? Well, I thought you had it with me. No, I really don't have a whole lot more to say. I mean, we pretty well covered it. We're close friends. We love what we do. We love hanging out together. We love our sponsors. They've been great to us. Steve's talked about that. I'm not going to go back through that again. And like I said, to me, I think the inspiring the young people is the most important thing that we do in aviation. And you come to Shell today and see how many young kids, and I'm talking from this high up to teenagers, that are flying and starting in their flying, and put them in the back of behind us and take pictures with them. I mean, they're all fired up about it. To us, it's just what we do, and I think our sponsors really appreciate that. I know they've told us many times, and it makes a big difference. We're just, I'm not bragging or anything. We're just nice people most of the time. Occasionally we're butts, but not too often. And we try to portray that image because that is what we are. We're not putting on any fake when we do that. That's just who we are.
So, and all that money that is going, we're not getting a penny of that. We volunteered that flight to give back. And all that money is going to help young people in aviation. And, every bit of it.
And this year is for a playground that's all aviation day, so
Yes.
we're going to catch them at 2 or 3 years old.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
there you
it,
go.
man. That's what it's all about.
Well, Chucks, I've enjoyed this totally. Hopefully you guys did too.
Thank you very much for coming by. We
Not the
appreciate it.
normal interrogation. Hello. And once again, this is Brian Purdy with the Florida Aviation Network, spending better than a half an hour with the Aeroshell aerobatic demonstration team. We thank them, and we thank you for joining us at Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo 2023. Have a great day.